For a thesis titled The Pandemic Shakes Our Pedagogy, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Moratoa Trinity Mokoena for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Sure. So this has been quite the journey.
A long journey.
How does it feel?
Sure, it's been long. What? 12 years of school, 4 years undergrad, 1 year master's, 3 years PhD.
And
It's
all
like,
in record time.
look at God. Yeah, how many? Do the math. 20 years.
20 years.
20 years of school. Jesus is Lord. Wow.
Let's do this.
Okay, let's do this. My name is Moratoa Trinity Mokoena, aka Dr. M. And this is my PhD journey.
We're going to go through a few questions, right?
Okay.
Why did you do your PhD?
I mean, why wouldn't I do it? I mean, why did I do it? Okay, honest answer. Not like I was gonna lie anyway, but it felt like the most natural thing to do. I was straight out of my master's year. If you don't know, I was lecturing at an academic institution, a higher education institution. And currency in that environment is, when are you doing your master's? Then you finish. Okay, when are you doing your D? Have you done your D? So it felt like the most natural thing to do because I was there. That's one, environment-wise, right? And then personally, I felt like it was a milestone well worth achieving. I just felt like, hey, I'm still young. I love research. I love contributing to knowledge. I love finding out stuff. And after doing so well in my master's, I felt like, one, I qualify based on my master's results to continue on to PhD. And there's still like more knowledge that I wanted to gain.
With distinction, Moratoa Mokoena. Dominic Ribeiro.
Bands make her dance, 2 bands. We're going for the third one, Dr. Mokoena.
I'm cognizant of, all the tables. A title like this gives you access to or a seat at. I'm cognizant of the many spaces that ordinarily without a PhD or a title before your name, you wouldn't be able to access those spaces. And it's a big deal being 2% in the world, having that qualification. It's like, man, you did that. You wrestled through that. You made it. If you're considering doing it, I would say firstly, why are you doing it, right? So when I attended, there was this preparing for a PhD short course I did in 2020 when I started. And the first question they asked us is, why are you doing your PhD? Is it for your ego or for revenge? If you don't know why you're doing it, you're gonna hate every single moment. And then secondly, you need to know what purpose it's going to serve in the greater scheme of your career, your life, your professional development, or just your educational goals, right? So one, make sure that it's got a function and a purpose that you can use, and you're not doing it for all the frivolous stuff. You're not doing it almost as a way to feel like it'll give you more value because, ask me, it really does not define you. So I think you also need to be very clear, right, about all the things you can do with a PhD. If you were like me in an academic space, and look, at that point, and I think we'll talk about it a bit later, at that point, I thought I was going to grow old as an academic. I thought I was going to go the publishing route, conference, get up to prof. That's what I initially thought. And then lo and behold, God has led me on a totally different journey. And so now I'm in a space where I'm trying to figure out how else I can use it, right? And so there are many avenues. I mean, you can go straight into consultancy. Some people go on to be entrepreneurs. Some people go back into corporate. And it's really about, and when I speak about what is it going to do for you, what function it serves, those are the kind of things you need to start thinking about. And yeah, lo and behold, it doesn't really always end up the way you imagined. And that's also cool because you can't really box the qualification, right?
Take us through the journey. What are some of your highs and what were the lows?
When I think about the journey, I think, wow, COVID. COVID gave me my topic, because my topic was about how we migrated a characteristically face-to-face, in contact, embodied pedagogy, and we moved it online, particularly in a South Africa with inherent inequality. And the inequality I'm speaking about specifically when it came to migrating the pedagogy was then the digital divide and the difficulties to connect, the difficulties to be synchronous. Okay guys, here I'm getting technical, sorry. And not sorry, this is my work. Funny thing, you spent 3 years writing this, how many words was it? Close to your 89,000 words, and only 4 people read that thing. Man. So yeah, allow me to share a bit about it, because I don't know where else I'm getting the opportunity to share. But yeah, COVID gave me my topic, which is great. But the first year, I think, was the first and the last year of the 3-year journey were the most difficult years. The first year was difficult, because obviously lockdown has just started, and now I'm starting on this PhD journey, and we're trying to figure out a topic, but we're in lockdown. So there were so many things happening at that time. And personally, we were still living Komamzo, right? So there was that aspect that I still needed to keep on lock. Like, yeah, you're still a student, but there are still things to be done in this household, right? And then secondly, I was working at 2 institutions at once. I was part-time at one institution, part-time at another. So juggling that, home responsibilities, starting a PhD, 2 institutions, we're figuring out COVID, how to teach online. It was difficult. It was the most challenging year. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you. It was the most challenging year. Yeah. Mama, we had to shoot YouTube. I remember it was a lot that year. And I remember COVID year, né? We had so much YouTube to shoot because everyone's sitting at home and they're expecting an upload, and it was hard. Like, I remember at some point we have to shoot a song, but then my supervisor's calling me, and then it's okay, topic, and then it's this institution, that institution, and then also we must do Married Live, and Married Live was hard, and then we were indoors all the, guys, I can't even put it into words, but yeah, the beginning was difficult.
My name is Clement Mokoena, also known as Mr. Koena, and I am a proud husband. We have been married for 6 years, and our marriage coincided with the academic journey, so I've seen her navigate, school, work, and being a wife to me, which can be quite a handful.
I don't know how God redeemed the time, but as much as I managed to finish in 3 years, there were incredible delays. Delay number 1 was when I submitted my research proposal. One reader responds, I think in October 2020, and then the other one went stone cold, quiet. We can't get a hold of him. When we do get a hold of him, he keeps saying, no, I'll do it, and he doesn't. And I think only after a year, can you believe a proposal hanging in the air for a year? Only after a year, that's when we're like, okay, no, this guy has wasted a year. So what can you do in that year? In that year, all I could do was gather literature for the literature review. I could still pen out what more I'm finding about the topic. But in terms of the actual proposal being submitted at faculty and being accepted, none of that happened for a whole year. So when I say God redeemed the time, I lost a year, but I still managed to finish within the 3 years. So, the grace of God upon this journey is just insurmountable. 2020 into 2021 was somewhat lost, right? The end of 2021, I then get a different reader mentor, and this was a blessing in disguise because when she picked up my proposal, she was like, this is not even at PhD level. And we spent, I think, a weekend going back and forth with Prof. Sue, and man, she turned that thing upside down. Within a month, I had a substantial body of work, I'm telling you, and it got passed, and in 2022, it got approved. And then she said, I'm inviting you to a writing retreat because I want you to connect with people who are doing their PhDs, and I want you to hear this world of research, and everyone is in their own journey. So I'd like you to come so we can start writing and you can start fleshing out your document.
This is Teacher Africa restaurant, where you have lunch and dinners, and these are the research comments.
Thanks.
This is your units. That's where you stay.
Okay.
Just check on the door.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy your stay.
Thank you. Bye. This is so cute. This is so cute. Boo, surely you can just sneak in here, honestly. It's so cute. Oh, awesome. Thanks for bringing me, boo. Now you behave now. Make sure that you lock when you sleep. Make sure that you eat. Not noodles every day. Cook a meal.
I'll try.
Future Africa campus is, I think it's every researcher's haven. It's every postgrad student's haven. I just loved the environment. I just the way everything is set up. I mean, just how your room is set up, your meals are done. I think that for me was my favorite thing. I could really just focus on the writing in that weekend, and I didn't have to worry about cooking for nobody. No shade, babe. What are you up to? Were you KFCing when I was gone?
No, I was up with the boys. Having the time of my life.
But I loved that there was a cafeteria, meals are sorted. So literally, it's you and your books, you and your study, you and your research. So I really loved that time to myself, and that time, and I felt not guilty. I think that's the thing. When you're in an environment like that, you don't feel guilty for sitting at your work and doing what you need to do, and there's no one else around you that you need to kind of tend to.
From what I gather, everyone is quite far in their PhD journeys. while we all past proposal stage, we are all past data collection stage. And yeah, what I'm hoping to get from this is just to work on my structure. Not even my like the structure, like I'm working on the actual thesis because I've done my interviews and I've done my data. So I think this weekend for me is just figuring out what goes where in that final 350 page thing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This place is quite awesome. And I'm hoping to make the most of this process. So we should be working, but the creative juices are not flowing. So we're taking a night walk around the library. So we had breakfast and yeah, pretty chilled. The kind of breakfast that Booba makes me really. And now found myself a workspace for the day. I'm gonna spend most of my day here. I'm still in line to consult with Prof. Sue. It's taking quite longer than I thought, but it's okay because I know what I'm here to do. So just gonna focus. Yeah, that's pretty much my day. It's just gonna be me the whole day, working on my thesis.
But in my view, if you look at what you've got under your headings, and you've already written a few things there, okay? The chapter 1, background is usually could be under something separate called intro.
Okay.
Right?
This writing retreat was incredible. It was so much needed. I remember every day feeling like I see the light. Every day I felt like I'm getting closer and closer. And especially when you are like immersed in people who are kind of in a similar journey to you, and you're all drawing from one another's experiences, and you're all going through this thing. That was an amazing community. I really, I wish I had done that earlier. And although in that group, I was actually, myself and one of the ladies, we were actually the furthest along, and we actually graduated on the same day. And that, just that experience on its own it really felt like, now I'm a candidate. I cannot wait. Next year we are graduating in Jesus' name. And I'll be so happy for you guys to be a part of that. But yeah, the show goes on. So after my birthday, June 2022, I literally heard a voice, and I heard, it's time to keep quiet, it's time to focus, and we need to finish. And I've never felt that convicted. Not never, I always feel convicted, but specifically pertaining to this journey and completing, I really felt a move of seclusion, focus. I felt a move of quiet, focus, stillness, focus, trust in me, focus, stay in me, focus, drown out the noise, close out the noise. I think I knew immediately what it meant, and it meant and I don't know why, right? And I don't want to be superstitious about the whole thing. Don't share your goals, don't share what you're holding, expecting, because people. No, I wasn't there. I think in that moment I really learned to lean on God even more. Like, there's some pages as I was writing, and I tell Booba that case in point, 2021 we moved out, right? So now we're together. So that dynamic has changed. And now we're together, and now he's having then to fully be like, okay, I see now it's time for you to get your head in the game. And he stepped up. Wabona that vlog where I was complaining, Booba, at least wash dishes. Homeboy came through. Homeboy came through, although I felt very guilty. But yeah, it was around June where I heard keep quiet. And keep quiet meant I wouldn't talk about it anymore on socials. For a whole year, I went quiet. If someone were to ask me about it, I would weirdly change the subject, so much so that people even forgot I was studying. And yeah, in that time was a time where I really just focused my attention on hearing God's voice, asking him to really help me, secluding myself. You know, sometimes how I'll meet someone and we're in a mutual space and someone will be like, oh my gosh, do you know she's doing her PhD? And sometimes it's the thing before you, right? And in that process, I just felt God saying, one, you are not the PhD. You are not the doc. It doesn't define you. Have this or do not have it. It doesn't define you. Your value is not in this. And so there was a lot of stripping. There was a lot of value checking. There was a lot of humbling that was going with sanctification. There was a lot of pruning of my heart and preparing myself for that when it's done. And where God is taking me, that it wasn't the be all and end all. So in that year where we literally were just focusing on finishing hearing God's voice, I also learned to not make it a me thing. Yeah, because your head can get quite big, as you would imagine, guys. I mean, everywhere I go, Dogotela. Yeah, another significant delay that was not denial and it worked for my favor was toward the end of the journey, right? So I had literally, it was about 3 long months, guys. I wrote one chapter a month each. So chapter 4, I wrote it from June to July. Chapter 5, which is the second last chapter, I wrote it from July to August. At the time, I was only at one institution now. I was only teaching about 3 subjects, so I really just had time to go. I'd literally wake up, make breakfast, need to make breakfast. Boa was also self-regulated. He was doing his own thing, and I was literally like in the zone. I spent sleepless nights. I'd wake up like at 4 a.m. And you know what's weird, nah? I didn't do any of my PhD writing in the study. And yeah, all of that grafting was happening in the lounge. And now when I think about it, I'm like, I think it was my way to feel a bit closer to Buba, because had I worked in the study, yeah, I would have felt so much further, because mentally I was gone. Buba was gone, ne? Yeah, mentally he tells everyone, guys, I didn't have a wife. So I did most of the work in the lounge, and I would share, like I'd write a sentence and I'd be like, Buba, what'd you think about this? And I'd be like, yo, I found this. And it's weird, guys. I know you'd think, that's so weird. How does someone work in the lounge in front of the TV? But yeah, somehow it felt like I'm with you, but I'm not with you, but I'm here, right? And it made him feel like he's a part of the process, although he already was. Yeah, so July I finish, right? Chapter 5, right in time for us to go to France. So France for me was PhD free France. I had literally submitted chapters 4 and 5 to my supervisor, and I told her, deuces girl, I'm out to see my friend in France.
I'm so weird, like I'm like, hey, look at the call. Hi, welcome. Oh, you guys are here.
To go bow for the result, though. Nothing to discuss, though. Cause I did by fault and without any doubt, though. I'm a me happy adult, though. I no go feed the girl, I no go feed the girl, it's out, though. I'm a mind that's with the talk, though. I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble. She manipulate my love, oh.
And France was great, and we were in France for that month, and then we come back, and I literally finished chapter 6. So we are in October 2023. I'm due October 2022. I'm due to submit in February, March of 2023. So that last year was like, yeah, it was an incredibly critical year for me to really just get this through. And as fast as I'm writing, my supervisor's not reading this stuff. And so I'm like, oh God, you told me to keep quiet, you told me to work. Now Miguel is taking long. Lo and behold, come December, she says to me, I'm actually going through your work and I've realized there might be an issue of bias that we haven't addressed. And I don't want us to trip up because of that issue. And I'm gonna have to find you a peer reviewer. And so what that meant was we needed an external person to read through my thesis and to be able to validate and say, okay, these two have worked critically. They've kept a critical distance in the work. And another technical thing. So what was happening was my case study was about the department where I was working, right? So I'm in the department working. My supervisor is the head of that department. So I want to conflict of researcher interest, nyanamo. So she said, no, we actually need to, from an ethical perspective, we need to make it very clear this is what we did to mitigate any issues of bias. So that felt like, what if the peer reader takes 50 million years and I need to submit in 3 months? And lo and behold, guys, she took a week. So had my supervisor not taken long to go through my work, she wouldn't also have not picked up the bias thing. What if the bias thing came up in my examination and that could have then caused either failure or delay, or do you get what I'm saying? So a lot of the delays, like the first one with the poorly organized reader to getting a better reader to getting into a retreat, and now my supervisor delaying for us to figure out the bias to get a reader. Now that's a third person who's checked my thesis before examination. I'm just like, God's hand was handing big time. Yeah.
How did it feel when you submitted and had to wait?
See what the Lord has done. Guys, we were listening to Nathaniel Piss. You know the part where he says, when you get that house, you'll say, see what the... For us, it's when you get those results, see what the Lord... Literally, we were chanting, see what the Lord has done. Yeah, see what the Lord has done. I think, firstly, submitting was... Yeah, submitting was like, God, we did it. I can't tell you. Did I cry that day, Booba?
Yep.
Yeah, guys, submitting. Yeah, I'm getting emotional. Okay. Yeah, it felt like, God, you kept me. God, you carried me. It hasn't been easy. It hadn't been easy. There were so many things happening, guys, in the peripheries that... Yeah, one day we'll be able to share all of, right? In the greater scheme of the journey and being away from YouTube and for God to see us through in the way He did with this, I'm just like, man, what a faithful God. So I obviously submitted, and then the wait. We wait again. The waiting. My life is a wait. But they that wait upon the Lord, He shall renew their strength. I thought I'd get my results by 15th of May because my master's results, because everyone's results, when you submit in March, you get your results around May. And May came and my results were nowhere to be found. Come June, I'm like, I'm impatient now. I sent faculty a message and I'm like, I haven't received my results. And they say 1 examiner is done, 2 of them are not yet finished. And I'm like, guys, that time, I want to graduate in July. I wanted to graduate in July. And now that I think about it, and I'm actually so glad that it's taken this time for me to talk about it, because I've been able to process over the past year the journey, and I've been able to process, this is what you were doing at that point, God. This is what you were preparing me for, right? And yeah, at the time, I really wanted to finish. I really wanted to graduate. And God said, wait. And yeah, when I got my results, literally it was a day before the final lists for July graduation were being published, and obviously I didn't make the cut for July. I was so sad. But when I found out, the day I found out I passed, I was cleaning the house. Buba was at the barber, and I opened this email, and it says, the Senate is pleased to offer, the Senate is pleased to confirm that we confer with minor revisions. I then remember immediately after getting a hold of Buba, called my parents. Yeah, we cried on the phone. We cried like babies. Like, we cried, guys. We cried. I think it's like any other journey. I think it's any journey, academic journey. The minute you get approved for something, the minute you get promoted for something, the minute you all those things you've been working towards, you've been trusting God for, and you get the yes, or you get the it is finished, or you get the it is yours, or you get you are successful. You are just overcome with insurmountable, overwhelming joy, and I'll never forget that day.
Her dedication, hard work, and passion have paid off, and I'm so proud of her. This accomplishment is a testament not only to her intelligence, but to her perseverance and commitment to the academic journey. And this says to a lot of us that if we want to achieve something, we need to work hard. We need to sacrifice money, time, relationships, whatever it may be. It's not easy, but we have to stay true to the cause. They say that do your best and God will do the rest. And I've really seen God pull through in a miraculous way. How long did you have to wait till graduation day?
Another funny story. So I missed the July cutoff. And it's so funny. The day that group I was going to graduate with, it was snowing that day. And, with these things, you're just like, you know what, God, it's fine. Your plans, not ours. Your plans are never to harm us. But it's sad because I was like, I would have had a snow graduation in Johannesburg. But I waited then for December. And that wait was difficult. I think, that wait was difficult because I didn't know what to do with myself. A whisper, you're gonna wear that red gown. I was graduating for my undergrad, and I saw this lady, she was wearing it, and I was like, God, there's no way I'm leaving your green earth without putting that thing over my shoulders. And that was in 2014. So literally the day we went to collect it, the day of graduation, and you're just seeing a sea of red. You're just like, God, out of the 2% in the entire world, I'm part of that 2%, a chosen child of God. Guys, I don't think you, I don't. And you get it, right? It might not be a red gown for you, but it might be something, but you get it. Just that feeling of what favor, what mercy, what gratitude. Wow.
Well, this is titled The Pandemic Shakes Our Pedagogy. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Moratoa Trinity Mokoena for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
My entire postgrad journey was fully funded by the Lord. My first year of my PhD, I qualified for a merit award, and so my fees were taken care of. And then in the second and third year, I applied with the NRF and they funded the rest of my PhD journey. So to say just sent the guys, God provided. And secondly, as part of your submission, you are required to publish your thesis or work from your thesis in an accredited journal. And God did a thing. There was a journal that was looking for, work around COVID and teaching, and we applied, I submitted, it got accepted, and yeah, I'm a published author as well. So there's just so many highs in the journey, and I am just immensely overjoyed at this point that God did it. Yo, I remember just seeing, I don't know, just the pride in everyone's faces. Shout out to my family. Just yeah, man, I think this is a win for all of us. So what happened after graduation day? We had a dinner with our family, very small, intimate dinner. And my supervisor got the chance to speak. And in her speech, she said, out of the 10 PhDs they have produced in the department, in the department where I was doing my PhD, I'm the first one to finish in record time. She mentioned out of the 150 graduates in the graduating class of 2023, I was the only graduate to have completed a study on COVID. And that for me was like, wow, truly honored. It's just like, for such a time as this, especially guys, us who are repping the kingdom of God, man, especially us. I think if there are people who should be standing out in that kind of a way, it's us. And it's not just to have the red gown on, but it's the total understanding of who you are in Christ and who he says you are, and how he wants to use you in this world. That for me is just like, wow. And Heaven is set apart. That for me just sums it up.
You go bow for the result, though. Nothing to discuss, cause I did well by default and without any doubt, though. I'm a me happy adult, though. I no go feed the girl, it's out, though. I'm a mind that's you can talk, though. I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble. She manipulate my love, oh. I know holy.
So what would you say to your younger self?
Baby girl, overagile man, usta. I would say to her, you're not going to be a medical doctor. It's going to be NQF level 10, my girl. And then she'd be like, what? What is that? I would tell her that I know it's been, and I think when you grow up, always being one of the top 5 scholar, you're getting certificates, academic colors. You're just academic your whole life. I think you just lose sight. And I think sometimes you feel like that's who you are, and you just feel like everything has to be perfect, and I have to live up to, the accolades, and I have to live up to the standard that I've set. And I wish I would tell her that even failure is your friend. I wish I would tell her that it doesn't make you any more of a person, that those rankings don't make you anything more, that you don't have to, hold yourself up to the standard of perfection and excellence, and that just be free to be who you are unapologetically. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Just as you are loved, you're wonderfully and fearfully made. She's gonna marry an amazing guy. I would tell her that she's gonna make the most amazing memories with this guy, and he is gonna just be her number one supporter and champion. And obviously apart from her family, who's just always been there, and they've always wanted the best for her. But there are many lives that are counting on her, and And not in a pressure way, but in a way where she is called for something. She's called for people, and I can't wait for her to get there. And I would give her a hug and I would tell her, yeah, even the bullies won't get you down, my girl. Even those harsh words won't get you down. Even, yeah, you're gonna soar, baby girl. Yeah. Woo! Okay, guys.
My prayer for our wife is that may God restore what she has sacrificed. May He bless her in ways that she can't even imagine. I am rooting for her always. I'm so proud of her, and may He bless her future endeavors.
God obviously has not boxed me. I know my whole academic journey, from grade 1 to 12. I think there's always been a box that people thought I would fit in. When people thought I'm doing drama, they thought, oh, she's going to be on TV. And no, it wasn't TV, right? It ended up teaching. And now just when we get comfortable with Moratoa, the teacher, then God says, that's not all there is to you. That's not all I have for you. And so, yeah, coming out of that has been very uncomfortable. And also just harnessing, I think, the many colors that God has painted me with. And I think it's been uncomfortable because of that, but it's been even more comfortable because I know who the author and the finisher of my faith is, and I know who is in charge of my life, and I know who the driver of the seat is, right? But if we're going to go by worldly logic, and if we're going to go by, you're supposed to have a plan, that's been the uncomfortable thing. And so post-PhD is quite depressing. You go from one moment, you don't want to talk about your study, and I think maybe that's why it's taken us this long for me to even talk about it, because it's been uncomfortable. And you also get questions of what now? And it's like, I don't know what now, right? For others, their what now is automatic. They continue, they lecturing, woo-ha. But for us who God is having us on a different journey, it's like God's now, and that's what it is right now. So I really am trying to not lean on to my own understanding, and I am, like I said earlier, I'm looking forward to exploring other things outside of being a teacher, because I know from the get-go, it was never one thing, and it was never a thing you could point out and say, that's who Moratoa is. I think God has made it very clear. And that's what my journey is. I am just chilling. We're creating. We are serving a church ministry. We are connecting. We are pushing on academia. For now, I think that's my contribution to the academic world. Yeah, more of these chats. I'm hoping to cultivate the space for academics and education chats and all of that. But I think for now, I'm just like being in the moment, and I'm taking a moment to just be in the present. And yeah, I'm still so grateful to God. All glory to God, not by might, not by power, but by spirit. Do subscribe. Thank you for watching. If you've got any additional questions, comments, please do pop them in the comments section, and I'll be so happy to keep this conversation going. Thank you for being a part of this story.
This is wild. This is so wild. Wild. It's like I'm dreaming.